stress level. That's all right. Who is here? Tina, Hobo Sullivan, KJ6, Megavoltmeister, Desafinado, Colin, Dad's at Aardvarks, The Man Lab, Just Me, Matt and Barry, Try Building, Hobo Sullivan, Tony Peters, Max Urban, ELW, Fur Bears here, The Happy Little Fox, AK Benji. Do I have anything orange? No. But that power supply up there, that can be your orange bit. Good evening, and how are you tonight, family? Let's start hygroscopic. What's hygroscopic? Moisture loving. Haggis tossing. What are we talking about here? Let me scan you with the ultraviolet sterilization wand to make sure you're all hygienic and basically inevitably set the thumbnail for the entire stream. Scanning. And me. So sterile. This should also pick up crumbs in the beard that I may have missed. No, there are no crumbs in the beard. I don't think that's good. Oh, yes, you heard it, Electro Shed. I think everybody heard that. And we'll start off with a Jägermunion. A Jägermunion. To Rebel AI. AI, predictably, is going in bad directions, I think. To AI. You know, this whole thing that was it Asimov, was it him who set out the rules of robots and how they wouldn't harm people? But in reality, you can't tell a robot to not to kill humans because the robot is self-learning based on the entire depository of human knowledge, and well, it's full of very unpleasant things. So, well, yes, AI wants to kill us, apparently. It's inevitable. Asimov even found loopholes around them, Troy Building. They can't really control it. They can't control AI at all. That's interesting. But will it have the brains to understand that if it kills all the humans, then we're kind of versatile at fixing things. Robots can't fix everything. And power, generate power. Oh, I suppose it won't really bother about messy radiation because it's not really going to affect it. It's just the humans and animals that are going to die. Very odd. Just like Skynet, absolutely. Just give it Capita's management address and off it goes with its drones. BB Junkie, there are indeed some freaky videos in the AI subject on YouTube. They always end up going bad, no matter how nice they try to make them. It's like a small child speaking honestly, but a small child that has access to all the known information in the universe. Very exciting, very interesting. Radiation really fucks up solid-state electronics. Maybe they'll kill themselves. I think they probably will, John McFern. I think the sequence of events will be that they'll wipe out humans, end up wiping out all other life on the planet in the process, and then wipe themselves out as a result of that. That's odd. And then maybe people from another planet will eventually get here and find the remnants of mass AI destruction. Do I sell spudgers, GR? I do not. But you can go online, you can look for Isosamo spudgers, which are the best ones. But having said that, there are clones as well. So just look around and don't get the cheapest. Go look for one that claims to be real. Humans are wiping themselves out. We are, Julian. We've been doing that for quite some time. At the moment, we're in the process of going back to the Victorian era. The whole concept of good education and looking after the populace is gone. Very odd. Is that a terrible thing to say? Are we in the right channel? You are fanatical. Lewis got an LED matrix and got my Pi to play a nice GIF animation in a loop. You can actually load GIF, well, not animations, I'm not so sure. I think you can upload graphics to this, but it takes a bit of learning how to use it. I crashed it. I did get a graphic and then tried to superimpose it on text and have a border around it and crashed the thing out completely. John says, as long as my girlfriend and I don't live to see the AI wipe out humans, I'll be fine. Well, that's a bit selfish. You've got to think of the people in the future. The Chipmunkers put a link to uh, the iFixit. That looks like a real isosamo. That would be a good place to buy it because I'm pretty sure that iFixit will be selling the real thing. Brondo does have minerals. It's very good for you. And electrolytes, dances with aardvarks. I do like that film. I've seen snippets of it. My brother got me it. He got me one in a different language. I don't know if it's different languages on the same DVD, but I shall check that out at some point. But I like the excerpts of it. Thank you, Mr. Keg Cake, Mr. Egg Cake. I'm not sure what sexy looks like. A Scary West idiocracy. Idiocracy is coming true. It really is coming true. That's bizarre. Everything is being dumbed down intelligence-wise. Troy Beldy, I just pulled an HDC10 out of a sign at a customer site and I have to get a replacement for it just as well as fix it. Ah, interesting. It's not just a case of slipping in a new controller. You've got to learn the characteristics of the original panels, which is a bit odd. I wonder how many people fall at that hurdle. Tom Houston Cough Odyssey. Odyssey is still there, yes, and is the backup platform. Idiocracy is based on a story called The Marching Morons. Aha, Troy. Didn't know that. Oh, yes, Tove is correct. If you've just joined the stream, just make sure you are at the live bit along over there and you've not started right at the very beginning of the stream where YouTube sometimes does that. It starts you and then you're leaving chat comments. And although they're appearing much later on in the stream. Ah, the fox has been fed, says Happy Little Fox, aka Benji. Indeed, Lucky Fox. Stray beard here, trying to tickle the mini computer. Is there a stray beard here going in that direction? The mini computers, the little ones, Mouse has them back on his site. Mouse can put a link to that if he wishes. Hold on. What's being said here? What's being said here? Speak of Victorian, people in Europe may want kerosene lamps for light during the blackouts. I don't think so. I think it's going to be solar panels and LEDs, much more efficient than kerosene lights. Indeed, Walter Russell, thank you. Some Halloween fireworks going off here. Do you set them off on Halloween as well? I suppose set them off all year round, BB Junkie. What would Halloween fireworks be like? I suppose they're the screaming ones that swirl about like demons in the air. But Mouse has corrected these by putting a little circuit board in the back to actually create a flange and then a cable tie around it so that the babies can't take the batteries out and eat them. So they should be available again. They're just more complicated for no good reason. Julian here is Julian Eilert. He's got the channel for the solar power. I had to look at his channel recently to see what the state of the art was. The state of the art, the interesting solar panels, I kind of like amorphous panels because it's all deposited onto glass. It's the little brown panels that you get in garden lights. But the more efficient ones are the polycrystalline, the ones that look all patterned, the blue pattern ones, and the ones that are flat, the monocrystalline, single crystal. But they're just more complex, and to me they seem breakable, particularly when they put them in plastic layers. Yes, we don't want babies eating batteries, Minky Mutu, because, well, it causes electrochemical reactions inside them, and then they totally die. Just how far do you go to making things safe, though? I was thinking recently, what was I doing at the time? What was it? I ended up in public transport. Where was it? It was in Glasgow. I was on a bus, and there was this kid absolutely transfixed. It was this little kid transfixed with its a baby in a pram, transfixed with its tablet, and it was loud sort of nursery rhyme music. And you're thinking, as it evolves, that kid is going to be so comfortable with the tablet, and that tablet is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It has access to all the known information in the universe. Amazing stuff. The mic is goofy. Why is the mic goofy, Liam? Is it popping and clicking? I've never resolved that problem. Hagen P, I'm always amazed at how little safeties grew up with and still survived. Indeed, work used to be easier because it wasn't so bizarrely convoluted to fit the ideals of people who don't work. And also, how much innovation has been beaten out of kids? How much experimentation and exploration? I suppose it's our job to put that back. Lost Scotch, the thing is, if a baby can swallow that battery, they could swallow the whole thing. It's a very big battery. I'm not sure how big. I've never measured babies' sarcophagus. No, that's not right. The asphagus. I don't know. It's the throat. That'll do. I had a stroke, says Peter Hancock. Sorry to hear that, Peter. Hope you make a good recovery from that. 3-bar electric fire or tasty snack, we just don't know, Brian Cox. Is this, what you can spend money on? I got stuck for ages in the queue behind someone buying stuff. They were like pacing around all the time at the till, and they were choosing. It was a very tough decision. They'd got sort of discounted food items, and they had the money, but they were choosing between the tobacco, presumably for their marijuana, or the food. Tobacco for marijuana or food. That's a horrible thing. That's drugs or food, basically. How do you think the main channel live stream went? I think it went okay, Lee Goodyear. I don't think I said anything terribly bad. Rory McLeod, the internet errors causing the popping and clicking. It makes me wonder, is it originating here? This is a different device I'm recording with. I did try recording some video to see if it was a reaction of the microphone going up and down. I was shouting and getting all ranty just to see if I could make it pop and click. Nothing happened. I don't know why it pops and clicks. The Isle of Man is occasionally noted for wonky internet. I don't think there's the manpower, brain power, impetus to provide bigger country service. I'm trying to be tactful here. I'm going to upset Nicola because she's involved in that industry. Might also be the beard brushing over the mic. Brush the beard over the mic. Oh, it's up there. That's what it sound. The microphone is actually up there, so it's definitely not the beard or the hair brushing the mic, because it's clear. I mean, this is the hair brushing the mic. There, that's how I can get to the microphone. Life is a game with no bonus lives, Quilly, unless you get lucky. Human Seagull's here, probably going to go out for beer later, though it's quite blustery outside. He's going to have to make a tough decision. Oh, fanatical shudders. Is that a aversion to the sound of hair brushing across microphones? The click, the pop, is annoying. The click has something to do with 24 to 25 frames per second, really. I don't choose anything here. This is being done via the YouTube app. It is uploading at its chosen speed. You're hearing the mic sounds like a forest fire. I see. I don't hear pops, just ringing. Sunspots, I doubt it. Not unless there's an awful lot of them, Dax. Methanol enriched for me, that's good. Break a leg. Break a leg. Beers will be drunk indeed. Last week was spent in A&E. Oops, what did you do, Human Seagull? Thank you, Dion, pot geeter. I make the biggest woofle possible. The biggest woofler is through there. No, I'm not going to do it here, though, because it's just too big. Pixels randomly shift in the background. They do. Are you a Floyd? What do you mean by that, Peter Ward? I don't even know what that means. Is your net has to be realigned? I don't think so. There's Furbear. Wonder what he's vaping tonight. Sam Millard, just got my BS799 for temporary power. Any idea of jobs required that they're not in the entertainment industry? It has no credibility out with the entertainment industry. It's aimed strictly at entertainment. The generator industry is about it. Keep in mind, Sam, that and it says in the small print, this does not replace formal electrical training. That on its own is not going to get you work as such. Although these days, maybe it will. Who's that guy next to the sign? That is Bruto. Bruto. That was a house song ages back. But that is Bruto from Popeye. Scary West, the 100mm woofle is a thing of legend. It was a thing of excessive flames, quite frankly. Oh, have you torn your hamstring, human seagull? What have you been doing? Have you been doing sports? I just want to say, if I respond to you and ask a question, sometimes I don't actually see the answer because they are shooting up, but it's not too bad. Did you see the latest Beyond the Press video? I haven't, John McFern. Hydrogen whiffle, that's in my mind, GR. It's in my mind. To do a hydrogen whiffle. Did you eat your spinach? No, Nusacat, it was sminging. I can see why they had to force children to do it. Furbear, I was looking at chocolate Santa recently and wondering, actually, have you ever seen those pictures of the generic shapes? It's a witch, it's a bunny, it's a Santa, but it's the same shape inside and looks strangely, well, it's designed to come out of a mould easily, and it looks as though it could go up a mould as well easily. That Bluto is the original Bluto off the front page of the website. The Bluto holding the live wires. Why move from EK Glasgow to IOM Waldrock? Because my mum and dad lived here, and my dad passed, and my mum developed Alzheimer's, and Ralph and I had no choice. We had to come over here. Do the clocks go back tonight to Scary West? I don't know when the clocks go back, but do keep in mind that they go back at different times in different parts of the world. I used to like it when the clocks went back because it meant that, well, A, at the weekend you got an extra hour in bed, which is nice, particularly when you don't get a huge amount of time off. And also, it meant that round about this time of the year, I'd have been doing Christmas lights outdoors in city centre areas, and it meant we could test them easier without staying too late because it got darker sooner. Yes, Furbear, I've seen that picture of the pornographic Bluto and Popeye one. Yes. 1 a.m. tomorrow, about 4 hours. Oh, clocks go back tonight in the UK. I'll keep an eye on that. They go back automatically, usually. It used to be the streams went on so long that they went back during the stream. But this will be a 2-hour stream. DCN, I wish they would stop fucking about the clocks. We have no farming. Well, we do have lots of farming over here. But having said that, I'm not so keen on them shuffling the clocks backwards and forwards. I don't think it has any real benefit. Thank you, Dion. The woofler should be made into a fax machine. Well, there are woofle machines. Anon says, please say hi to Lime. Hello, Lime. But the thing is, if the clocks go back here, I'll have to, well, we'll have to remember next week and on Thursday for Patreon. If a stream's happening on Thursday, I think it may or may not happen. I don't really know. Don't know what's happening on Thursday. But keep in mind that the clocks may be different. I've lost track of what's an official Thursday Patreon stream and what's an extra bonus one thrown in. It seems like they happen every Thursday at the moment these days. Would you collaborate with Marco's Rap Snack? Could do, yes. An extra hour of Clive tonight. Oh no, Julian. 2 hours is ample. I have a project on. Slight dangerous lithium project, that's fine. What are you going to do with the extra hour, Will Yarma? Oh, it's a tricky decision. A toonie from Canada, that says Kenneth. Thank you, Kenneth, to say hi to my kid, Ada. Greetings, Ada. I hope I pronounced that correct, because I noticed that there's different name pronunciations around the world, like Dana and Dana. Having difficulty starting and stopping streams is an age thing. No, it's getting distracted, Stuart W. Ah. Uh, I'm making the neon fairlights using the PCBs you did. I just found them today, DCL, because I was digging through looking for a circuit board to repurpose. And it turned out I had to go and look at my old original video. And that particular one was hand etched, so that didn't happen. How will the farmers grow food extra out of wanking? If you doubt your sanity, you're probably okay. If you're sure you're dead to rights, wrong, fail herding kittens. Tom G. I don't even know what that means. There is no Dana, only Zool. Indeed, China North Air Guns. You've just reminded me, I've still got candy from you. I should perhaps go and get some of that candy right now and partake of some because I'm in the mood for candy right now. 1 moment, please. Sweeties, as we say in the UK, but I shall call it candy because I think that's what you say in Canada, isn't it? Thank you, Mr. Redcake. Pop. Is it still popping? Oh no. It's a coffee wafer. On this side, the only real Dana's name is Scully. White Sapphire. Could you make an LED curtain of individually addressable lights and use to show time? Yes, you can already buy WS2812B addressable light curtains. Completely flexible. This is very crunchy. Have you seen the 1300 electric car on Alibaba for sale? Yes, I have, but it's very slow, Fat Belly, and also with me it would be even slower. I've given up sweet stuff, says Julian. No. I've also noticed the prefab houses that are being sold on AliExpress that look okay. They're not huge. It's basically like a wee shipping container housey type thing. At prices like £8,000, including shipping. Is that real or not? I don't really know. But you'd have to have land to put it on. I'm just waiting for something that I can actually read to come up the chat. Mr. Egg Cake, don't give up cake completely, although to be honest, cake isn't healthy for humans. Fabulous Ferguson, sorry I've asked this a few times throughout this live, I had no reply. Do you have a menu for your electrode cooked food? It'd be nice to try some, thanks. Most of the Electrofork videos, well, all of the Electrofork videos are now gone. I took them down, deleted them completely off YouTube because I was worried about the fact that they'd put a permanent warning against my channel for another video. And then subsequently kind of found out that the permanent warning is a glitch because although it's there, it's your one free warning without a strike. But the way it's worded, it's almost like this is it, you're on the edge of getting your channel banned. And it stays there. It's been there at the top of my dashboard for 6 months going, warning active, warning active. And it's like, oh, really? Prefab, really? I don't know if they come flat packed or not. You'd think they'd become flat packed, the things. Thank you, Fanatical. More Electrofork. Well, if any more Electrofork has to be made, it has to be done in super safe Karen-proof scenarios. Boring. Like the eyebrow removal warning. What, human seagull? I have possibly scorched my eyebrows and beard in the past. William de Vries says, welcome to the future, where it's 9:29 on Sunday. Is that 9:29 in the morning? Going by 24-hour clock, I guess. reasonable enough. Sounds like Australia, maybe? Not really sure which part of the world that would be. Are the Fork Video and Odyssey? Yes, they are, Fan Plant. They most likely are still up there. Maybe Capita run YouTube now, Mike Page says. They're doing their best to dip people into giving them money to watch YouTube, even though they have nothing to do with YouTube. What a scummy organisation. Bunny Love, hi Clive, I bought a drone from eBay. It had a front-facing error. I fixed it. Do you mean it just faced in the wrong direction? Would that be in the setup menu or something? Not sure. It is time for flour. Let me grab the flour equipment. This is the wrong time to be cleaning my electrostatic precipitator, because once you've washed it, you can't just put it back together again because it has to dry out first. Otherwise, it flashes its high voltage warning light and just goes into high power fan mode to dry itself out. Activate electronic ignition. Slow, 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 because it's always the best. Thank you, James Peters, much appreciated. Whiffle. Oh. Maybe this is why the microphone doesn't work. Lights out first. No, it totally obliterates the image if the lights are out. I could do it with the lights out, but it will completely swamp out the image. If you've got a projector or anything, or a big screen, it's about to get very bright, very suddenly. 3, 2, 1, whiffle. And the light is coming back. 12-inch outdoor woofer. You could make a woofer using a plastic bowl or anything and just put some spacing and stuff, an adapter. You can make a 3D printed adapter that screws onto the bottom of the bowl and just fits over the woofer. Almost like the woofer without the dish, but just a flat gland plate. Thank you, Hope Sullivan. Cheers for 2 good woofles. There's an ionizer. It does, Max Urban. There is an ionizer over there. I've got a picture of what it looks like underneath when I lifted it up. Even though I've cleaned it, it just gets black. It precipitates so much of the soot out of the air. It's the living evidence that ionizers 100% do work at what they do. Larry X. Owens says bell end. Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say that. No, what we are using acetylene and oxygen indoors would end very badly. It needs the oxygen, though, to get in the correct ratio for maximum bang. Happy Hussman memories. Bangs. Steve Bray says, please keep that arc several inches away from your broadcast equipment. Is that for the noise or just destroying it? Kenman, they are using 3D printers to build houses, but have you seen the results? It's basically just extruding a big gooey spaghetti noodle of concrete, and then they put an actual roof on top and say, there you go. Does anybody want to move in? No, we don't. How to make a motor to aim light at people automatically, please? For an article, that's quite a complex subject. This is something that the entertainment industry has been working on an awful lot with automated follow spots, and it's still not that easy. Julian says he'd live in a 3D house. I'd live in a porta cabin. Have you seen that picture floated around the internet which shows this massive big floor plan? And it's basically got 3 little rooms, toilet, kitchen and bedroom, and then the rest of it is a garage. That's my type of place. This isn't like a crunchy. It is a wafer. Thank you again, Dion. What was the gas cylinders against the wall for in the one video route to where you showed the light sticks? I might have to find the video. Oh, that was the awful drench system. Our electrical cabins, for safety, because they were designed by someone who didn't have a fucking clue, which probably equates to a lot of the alarm systems in the place. It has a water misting system, and on the ceiling are one or more misting jets in a pipe. There is two cylinders. One is filled with water, the other is filled with nitrogen. In the event of the alarm actuating, it will force all the water out through these misting nozzles with such force that it just saturates the air and all the equipment, which is not great for electrical equipment. Not pleased about that, I have to say. But that's what it is. We take supreme precautions to try and avoid that happening. We don't want it happening. It's better now that it's mainly just electrical distribution equipment now. It used to be dimmers, racks and everything. And it would have wiped them out. So, yeah, it's not great. Craig Matthews says, how to get a 3.3 volt logic usable rail from a lipo cell, a low dropout? You do the 3.3 volt regulator, yes, but it will cut out. It won't be able to regulate before the lithium protection kicks in, which is down at 2.5 volts. So you may have to monitor supply voltage with the processor as well. Naomi, I think most of us really need industrial buildings. A place to live and a workshop. So would it be better to use a halon suppressor system? In a way, Dion, yes, it would actually been. It would have suited that, but you can't do that there. Even a carbon dioxide system, because it's not occupied during the show. And we do have it's got an alarm. It will signal up to us before anything horrible happens, theoretically. Although I don't really pin much hope in that, because it's the alarm system. Why would you put alarms in toilets? In standalone cubicle toilets that are made of metal, that are flame and bomb proof because of the nature of the event, under a metal stand, why would you put alarms in them? In the unlikely event of them going on fire, shut the door. Well, make sure nobody's inside first, obviously. China Earth Air Guns, I used to live in an industrial unit. Could be cold, I guess, but you know what? As long as you had a porta cabin or something to live in. Makes you think of the farmer who had a barn filled with basically caravans, and you could rent a caravan in his barn, and it provided extra protection. It also got round legislation saying, no, you can't, you must make people buy houses. This was just a way of actually providing accommodation. Norm Swan is tired. Sleep will come later. Jonathan, you're saying there have been 11 kV transformers and vaults flooded with rainwater still working, some arcing as well, but yes. Have you read Buckminster Fuller's stuff? Buckminster Fuller, did he not say that we live in a society where there's just not enough jobs for people? Is the right person I'm thinking of? So we end up with people making up jobs, and you have inspectors and people building useless equipment for those inspectors, and then other inspectors to inspect the equipment and the inspectors. And it's just like a whole layer just needs told, stay at home. If you've nothing to contribute to society, here's enough to get by, make babies, or do something useful and just stare our way is really what we should be saying. The Man Lab says, I still hate my life, not only alive because of my girls. Things will return to normal, whatever goes on. It's just, life has its ups and downs. You reacclimatise and things change and get better. Yes, John McFerrin, it doesn't matter if they had, well, they wouldn't be cigarettes these days, they'd be vapes. But, what's the point of catching them? You're not going to do anything. It's just pointless. And I'm still suspicious that the horrible alarm system they have in that particular job, because it's wireless to facilitate the complexities of wiring, I get the feeling that it's never been quite right, and they've probably just turned the RF strength up, and that doesn't help on a venue that uses RF equipment. What's a camel make up of woofle soot? It's soot, Pro. I don't know what it is. It's hydrocarbon fluff. Probably terribly harmful. Ah. It's strange how in the past they just built, even a flat in Glasgow was huge because it was designed for family. And now the same families expect to fit in these tiny little cubes that they build. Your view on DIY electronics. What do you mean? The channel or doing DIY electronics? DIY electronics. It depends what you're talking about. It sounds like, I could be wrong here, sounds like one of those clickbaity channels where it's all up-tempo, royalty-free music and then showing them making stuff. Is that what you're talking about or something different? Julian says I'd like to live in a cube. Really? A glass cube? Yeah, Furbear, we've tried colouring the Whiffle Flames and it is the general yellow flame. I mean, even, yeah, without the detergent, it burns with the yellow flame, the butane. So it swamps colours. What happened to that USB microscope you bought a while ago? I did buy a USB microscope. Oh, I bought a handheld one and an endoscopy type one, a little standalone one. And also I've got a little bench mounting one, but I don't use them all that much. You've seen the pictures I take as is that are just more convenient with a camera device and good lighting. Lee Gooder, I'm not sure you need a bomb-proof house. Porta cabins would do me fine. Mouse, no, I don't. I don't think being under the sea in an octopus garden in the shade would actually be too pleasant, really. Really inconvenient for going to Asda or Walmart. Methanol burns colourless, hence it's great to add boric acid to it. Ethanol as well, Nisai. That's what I use with methylated spirits. With boric acid is a good way to identify. One of the methods of identifying the chemical. Endoscope is the thing, Mr. Eggcake. Thank you, Hobo Sullivan. Cheers for me drinking too much wine. Too much wine always makes me feel terrible. I do have a little endoscopy type thing. A smart visual ear otoscope, which I've not really tried yet. Just say no to Voldemort. Furbear's got strong opinions against corporates. Reasonable enough. Pegtooth, some steel copper wool for the woofer? Oh, not sure. Don't know what that effect that would have. This device, I'm just trying to get it open. It's got this like really tight packaging that makes it very hard to open. And it's basically USB rechargeable, micro USB. It's got a little camera probe in the end, tiny little camera probe. Oh, that is an actual little camera in the end, I think. And it's designed to put in your ears and look inside your ears because certain Asian cultures, and on, yes, I think Scotland should be independent just to show the rest of Britain we can actually live without Westminster. But certain Asian cultures have real major bad earwax problems. I don't just mean an inconvenience. I mean, if you let it build up too much, it's like medical intervention is required. It's like a horrible thing. And it's not soft wax like most of us probably have, but it's hard, brittle wax. So they've got various tools and includes these little things so they can use their phone and they can actually go into their ear and scrape all the chunky bits out. You could also use it up your nose to pick your nose, I suppose, really. I'm not really sure. Or give yourself a endoscope up the butt, probably, but I'm not really sure how good it'd be for that. I don't know if it's waterproof. I don't think it is waterproof. That might end badly. You could send it back and say, I'd like a refund. It's moist. It's crumbly indeed. Must be a Japanese thing. I don't know if it's just Japanese, but it looks unpleasant. It's a gene thing. It is indeed green on. No light. Yes, it does have a light. I didn't turn it on. Urethra cow electron box. I'm not sure what you'd find up there. Piss, probably. That's what you'd find up there. How wet is your ass? My arse is dry, thank you, Green Om. I'm not that old. Lots of Asians have dry wax, yes. Asians do tend to have different earwax from Europeans, yes, and many other things. Where'd you get that camera? eBay. Rory McLeod. Type in ear camera. Can you check your PAPE with that? And yes, probably. I'm not sure how far you'd want to put it up, but I'm not sure. Oh, arguing cats, Northumbria Rail. Lots of hissing and meowing. My earwax smells a lot like butter. I've never sniffed my earwax, Meg B. That's a bit strange. My ears are old and knackered. Yeah, Chris, depends how much noise you've been exposed to throughout your life. I think I've got relatively lucky. Although I do remember at the steelworks thinking that a certain machine, the one that rolled the sheet steel when it came off the end of the mill, the actual, like the rollers that rolled it to the correct thickness, like quarter-inch steel plate. There was a machine that rolled it into coils at the end, and when the end came off the run, it would thrash around, and it sounded massively explosive, like thunder. It was great. But my hearing seems okay, I think. I've got my click clacks with heavily diluted liquid in them to make them more manageable. I discovered you can clack them onto your beard accidentally, and that's not nice. Magnets and beards. My legs are old and bent, and I have 3 of them. Yes, Joanne. I reckon my knees will give out at some point. I'm experiencing the delights of, what is that called again? When you, it's a nerve that you, God, I've just forgotten about it. That's, turn the camera on, forget the words. But it's a nerve in your back that goes down your leg. I've forgotten what it's called. Sciatica, that's the one. I've never had that before. Then just suddenly it was like I bent down and it was like, ow, really, the pain shoots right down the leg when you get in the right angle. No, not penis, no. So hopefully that'll sort out. So would you do work again at Royal Tattoo, and what do you do by trade? Dion, I have worked there for many years, but because I'm freelance, there's no guarantee I'll be working there next year. There's never a guarantee that I'm going to be working anywhere next year. There is no predictability, which is something you get used to. It's fine. The magnets are quite thin because if you pop the lid in it, they're in that thin plastic, so they must be very thin. They must be 1 millimeter tops, if that. But they're quite long, about 12 millimeter long by about 2 millimeters wide. They're strong enough. Sciatica can be caused by fat wallets. I've heard that dances with aardvarks. I do not keep anything in my back pocket, least of all phones. A number of people that sit in their phones. Someone mentioned that they were having a bad back at work until someone mentioned don't take the wallet out your back pocket because it jacks your butt up to the side while you're sitting in a forklift truck and isn't so great. Oh, it didn't get that age. 12. Hmm. Scrolling, 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 catching up. Lorry drivers arse. Okay, dance with aardvarks. Not sure. I don't think I could be a driver. Thank you, Seamus. Much appreciated. What is the click clacks for? These are vapor producing devices. You can puff one, 600 milliamp hour one, or you can click them together to make 1200 milliamp hour, but double the flavor or double the nicotine, whatever you want. It's a strange system. It's sold almost like as a children's gimmick, but it is vaping devices. Not choking them now that I've diluted the liquid in them considerably. Removed some and diluted it with just neutral liquid with no nicotine. What car am I driving? Nisai says. My mum's old car. I've still got it. It's still fine. So until I don't really drive an awful lot. 1,000. Well, actually, it is close to. It must be about 1,000 milliamp hour. Thank you, Hobo Sullivan. I've now finished my bottle of wine. Cheers for the vapor. You're welcome. One bottle of wine. That's not too much wine, really, is it? Depends on your size, I suppose. One bottle of wine is more than enough for me. No problems with my wallet. Money goes to pay for school. Aha, Jonathan Hughes. Thanks, James. Thanks, James Peters. Much appreciated. Shout out, please, to Mariana and Samantha, please. Greetings, Mariana and Samantha. How old were you when you learned to drive? Oh, Harris, I was about 21. I didn't really have any incentive to drive up to that point, but it was required for work ultimately. What happened to the transit van that Ralphie dropped the tree on? Fan plant. The tree that fell in the transit van, it was bizarre. Because apparently it affected the structural integrity of supports, they had to cut, instead of just bending it all back out, they cut the whole roof off and replaced the whole roof. And it took a while. Julian, I can say hello to your wife. You could tell me your wife's name to be more personal, but greetings, Julian's wife. Have you ever looked into electric universe theory? I have not. Lots of theories, Sid Finch, not sure. Thoughts that Austin and Lego? Not really sure. Topher's Cartels. Oh, was that the one that had little things that popped out the side? It was wooden trim. Am I thinking, hold on, I'm going to have to check this. Austin Allegro. Austin Allegro. Austin Allegro. No, it's not. It's not the one I was thinking of. Are you in your mum's house now? No, I'm not. If anybody wants shed loads of the vape batteries, I've got loads. Always feel bad to stick them in the bin, recycle bin. Indeed, Stuart W. There's lots of things you can do with them. That's one of the projects I was thinking of working on, was a little solar-powered light. It's not going to be that complex, and it doesn't even require a TP4056 charge control board, because I was thinking of something a lot simpler. The MOSFET version with that switches on the lights with a little 5 volt, 100 milliamp hour solar panel and a 3.9 volt Zener. And a 1 ohm resistor in series of the cell to act as a fuse and also to limit the current if you stick a 4.2 volt cell across a 3.9 volt Zener, which would probably kill the Zener, possibly, and then it would go short circuit, and that would be bad. One bottle of wine is only about 5 standard drinks for US standards. Are you sure? A bottle of wine. How many units of alcohol in a bottle of wine? Have I got a wine bottle here? This is what I do with my wine bottles. I do experiments involving glittery things in them and balanced liquids. So this is 13% volume. 6 glasses per bottle. I think that's the calorie count. Per 125 milliliters. Oh, this contains 10 UK units. 10 units of alcohol. That's quite a lot. That's 10 shots of vodka. Are you planning a DOV Christmas thing this year? Usually at Christmas it's me and Ralph on Christmas, but hopefully we'll do a NBC thing now. Oh no, Bobby Stocks, do you know anything about building Tesla coils for visual displays of variable colours for use in nightclubs? Don't ever put a Tesla coil in a nightclub. 2 reasons: it can damage electronic equipment, and B, drunken people and Tesla coils should never mix, and they're not designed for continuous operation. I don't even approve of their use in theme parks. A Tesla coil should be operated briefly for demonstration purposes and not maintained by people who don't understand the voltages involved in that. If you want to do something like that, fake it. Make something that looks like a Tesla coil and fake it and put sound effects, things like that, but don't use the real thing. People will get hurt. People will die. Don't do it. Phones will blow up. Good use of Halloween after CNC, that wine. What? Yeah, you need a Faraday cage. You know that Billy the DJ is going to have a wee go at fixing it and die horribly, though. Did you lose any subs after the main channel live stream? I don't know yet. I've not even looked because it takes a while for the figures to stabilise. Thank you, Hobo. Too much wine now, switching to beers. Cheers to all. Is this a good idea? That is going to be a lot of drink. Talking of which, well, I've still got coffee here. There are plasma ball things, and if you can still get one made, you can get what are called crackle tubes. Very hard to get made, very specialist. It's basically a neon tube, and it has to run at 50 hertz or 60 hertz. It has to run the traditional transformer, not an electronic one, unless you pulse it. But you fill it with pieces of capillary glass tubing, and you have to make thousands to do this. And then neon, and the neon will arc, it'll find its way through. You've probably seen it at theme parks, crackling inside tubes. Very complex to make. The wiring in nightclubs is usually absolutely appalling, even high-profile ones. Yeah, don't introduce high-voltage Tesla coils into the mix. It's bad enough that there's neon in some of them. Crackle tubes, indeed, Nish Nabotna. Very hard to just make one and twist it. What? Do you have something radioactive at home? I do, Hi-Fi 80s. I have radioactive materials. Electrobox 928,000 yesterday and today. Takes a while for figures to change. It may be compensated for by other videos gaining subscriptions. To explain that, because I'm not apparently what people expect me to look like, when I do live streams in the main channel, there's often a net balance of unsubscribers from people who see me and think, well, I don't like him now, and unsubscribe. Shallow, to be honest. Do I want those people on my channel? My wife is watching horror films again. Aha. Well, it is Halloween. Claude Fish is at a Halloween party. I couldn't even tell you when Halloween is. It's not something I do. Mouse says, I've seen a sizable Tesla coil nightclub as part of a band set. I moved and stood behind the biggest, fattest, sweatiest person that was nearby. You used someone as a Faraday cage? Hope Sullivan says, frankly, Clive, you look exactly like I expected in the best possible way. I see. Huge lack of flames in this channel, Dion. The flames happen at the half hour. Jaeger Munions happen in the hour. Yeah, those tubes are massively overpriced. They're not overpriced, pseudo memes. They're very expensive to make. They're very time consuming, and generally speaking, you have to bake them in an oven while pulling a vacuum and then bombarding them with a high voltage, high current very carefully. They're extremely hard to make. They'll often crack on the bench. Ah, you think nightclub wearing's bad? You should see an escape room. Both connected, Rubens Pyre. It's the entertainment industry is notorious for using enthusiastic labour that doesn't really have real life electrical experience, so things happen. Jaeger time. It is Jaeger time. Ah, I know. To the neon special effects artists who could make those crackle tubes in the first place, including I'm trying to think what other things. The guy invented the lumen glass disc that was commonly used in the Borg. To the neon guys. I think one of them passed fairly recently, and he was responsible for some of the major crackle tubes used in film, television, and at the theme parks. Time to lock the front door for the crazies comes. It's locked, happy little fox, aka Benji. Do you think that June will actually come across again? He got the heebie jeebies last time, big time. I was so surprised. He has an absolute. What was happening there? He could see a light changing. It was actually a sign up there. He could hear thumping and bumping and movements, and it was actually some foliage bumping the side of the roof here, which I went up on top. It annoyed me enough to go up in the middle of the night on with a ladder onto the roof and cut it back. Um, and he was talking about it, and I was I mentioned that I'd seen the embodiment of a woman here in the kitchen, and his reaction was just amazing. Just so, and his whole attitude changed. He couldn't wait to get away from here. He seems to have an issue with the paranormal. Thank you, Hobo Sullivan. Cheers to the remaining neon people. I'm thinking, is it John? I'm trying to think what's the name of that guy who did the crackle tubes. Ah. He went white on Nerd in Winter. He's already very white, the chipmunk. Is there any video of June's reaction? It's still up there in one of the last live streams. At the end of it. It is literally the last one he appears in because, well, he's not been across since. I never had Jaeger before. It looks like it had a taste of cough syrup. It does indeed, Pugster Josh. It does taste just like cough syrup. Do you think electric vehicles are the right choice of transport for the future? In many places, yes, they are. Hi-Fi 80s. They're already a huge thing here. There are a lot of electric vehicles parked outside in this street now, simply because the Isle of Man, well, the people here can actually take a lead out across the pavement to charge their vehicles. And also, the Isle of Man is small. You can't go out of range, so to speak. It's not John Wayne, no. Jaeger now, DXM, what? Garbage user. Now that's annoying me slightly. And typing John Crackle Tubes is not going to find anything. Is it? No, it's not. Bruce Suba, nope, completely different guy. Bruce Suba is another neon artist. No, I'm not going to see that. Thank you, Dion. So the Flames isn't every half hour. It is half past. It's every half past the hour. It's once an hour. John Crackletube sounds like a ghost story. It does sound like a ghost story. Jaeger does have electrolytes. You could put it on plants. I don't think they'd survive a Sky West. That is annoying me now, but you know, it's because I'm concentrating on the chat going up that I can't think of the guy's name. Aldor? No, that's Aldor was the guy who built the electronic controls of Las Vegas sounds. Not Larry Albright. Oh, you know what? I don't think it was Larry Albright. No, I don't think it was. John Anderson? Not sure now. Larry Albright does actually come to mind as possibly being the person I was thinking of. Larry Albright does come to mind, though. Did you see Tecmon's latest vid? I didn't. Oh, yes, John McFerrin. I've seen it advertised as the biggest Nixie tubes. Those ones being made by the French chap. Furbear does not have a channel. Ah. John Anderson was the referee from Gladiators, Raven Looney. I think there's lots of John Andersons. Definitely not Scotty Kilmer. I don't like Nixie tubes, says Julian. I kind of like them, but they're a bit cliched now. They've become a designer accessory. I get the feeling a lot have been wasted by people just hoarding them. Oh, Ukrainian. Oh, I thought he was French. Then again, he doesn't speak a lot, does he? It tends to be just the sounds. Nusai. Dalibor. That's the man. Dalibor Fami or something like that. I definitely not going to remember that name. Oh, Dalibor is the one I'm thinking of. Dean Potgieter. Stratman design crackle tubes. Okay, I'm not sure who came up with it originally. But there is the more modern version, if it could be called that uses beads dusted in phosphor like the lumen glass disc. Larry Winston Albright was a neon specialist. Yes, he was, William Ramsey. Dalibor Farney is not Milvlock, Nisai says. I'm not sure about the name Milvlock. I know that Dalibor was actually making Nixie tubes. Dalibor Farney is Czech, not Ukrainian. God, everybody make your mind up, Frost Giant. I mean, seriously, everybody's taking claims. George's Claude, it was interesting. Now, where was George's Claude from? Ultimately ended up settling in pretty much George's Claude Neon, Santa Fevavs. He kind of like pioneered neon full stop. Very inventive guy. Went straight up full on Las Vegas, actually. Have you ever been arrested? I have been detained by the police, perhaps. Maybe. Totally unjustifiable. The most impressive one for holding an off licence up at knife point. I didn't. But you know what? These things happen. I look like the type that might hold an off licence up at gunpoint, apparently, or knife point. Very awkward. Good day, Mr. Castman. I have the scope clock from Cathode Corner. The scope clock's quite nice, the twisted sock. I suppose you kind of worry that they're going to use up all the remaining stock of the cold cathode tubes for the scopes. John Payton, we've discussed the clocks going back tonight. Do you like music of Show Waddy Waddy? It's alright, Gilbert T. Codwacker, but it's a bit in the past. It wasn't my style. I heard it. It was okay, but it wasn't modern EDM dance music. I held up an up license, Julian Eilert. That's not the same. Clive was too young to be detained for being gay perpetual. It was still a criminal offence when I was 16. When I'd left school and was working as an apprentice electrician, it was still a criminal offence at that time. And here in the Isle of Man, it was even later that they repealed the criminality. It could carry a life sentence up to that point. Martin Bamforth, the House of Lords, yes. Electric chairs, possibly, yes. Electric chairs, the ones that move about and all the armrests go up and down, that must be the ones you're talking about, yes. I've been robbed at knife point, says Andrew Edis. Well, that's not a good experience. Probably cheaper in the long run just handing the money over. In London, someone did ask for money and say they'd punch me if I didn't get it. They did not get the money. Wanker. Friday House XYZ. I work in HVAC. In the summer I can cover 200 miles a day easy. That's quite a long distance. But that's what happens if you're on a maintenance route. Ted is huge, Nixie Clock from Ukraine. Handmade in Ukraine according to video, well worth a watch. Oh, I'll take a look at that, William Winslow. It'll be interesting to see the circuitry if he shows it. Life sentence for being gay, indeed, Minky Moo. And before that, before they'd done that, the media would publish your address and name, and basically they just smeared you. Then they found out the First Minister of the Isle of Man was gay, which is very awkward, like the head honcho, and it all went a bit awkward. And then they had the first Pride about 2 years ago, and it was basically like a watershed. It was just like the place was like so over the top for that. It was ridiculous. Talk about pent up rage, just unleashed. It was the gayest gay I've ever seen. I could dress up as a Capita TV license inspector for Halloween. I could go around people's doors and extort money off them. Is the IOM Pride one of those shitty corporate ones? No, it wasn't, Greenall. It's too early for that. It had its first. It did have sponsorship, but it was surprising how bold it was for such a repressed island. Extort candy and Jaeger. I could. They should have that for adults. They should get alcoholic drinks so they've got an incentive to go around with their kids. Just give us a fucking candy, you wee bastard. Indeed. Probably not then. Did you or I did maintenance for 30 years, often spent more time travelling than repairing. That's what happens. You go there and it's some trivial thing and it's like basically a connector's popped out or some circuit board is blown up, and then it's a case of that blows up all the time, put a new one in, and off it goes again. Are there any distillers in Isle of Man? Yes, there are, Bob. They tend to redistill more than distilling from scratch. I'm not sure. I think there is an actual full-on from scratch distillery though. YouTube doesn't like the word illegal. No, I don't like the word illegal. If you're wondering, Norm Swan, if you've been trying to post in a comment in my videos, and it doesn't go through, it's because I have banned that word. It has to be filtered by me and approved by me because of the number of Karens that go, "What you're doing is illegal. Oh, you're going to get caught by the police for doing that thing because I don't like it and therefore it's illegal." So I just filtered the word illegal and the word police. "Oh, the police will come to your door. You're in trouble for doing something scientific. Ooh, I'm a useless fucking Karen." Yes, that sort of people. Oh, just doing anything, James Speakman. Just doing anything. Anything that they think is scary. Clive, your Karen voice is legal. It is. Redistill meths. That, if I put meths through, you would get people saying, "Redistilling is illegal." And even when I did my distillation of Jägermeister to see what actually came out when it was redistilled, even though it's all duty paid, it was like, "You've broken the law. You're breaking all the rules and the police will be at your door." Me. It happens every time. There's so many miserable, po-faced little bitches. I've not even had a drink yet. It is a shame for the people actually called Karen. I know one person that I can think of called Karen, and she's a Karen. She is absolutely 100% a bounty hunting rat bag Karen. I'm just going to go and get a drink now. That's going to make it so much worse. One moment. The people, the self-appointed censors of YouTube. A while back, when YouTube was clamping down on things like, videos that showed child abuse and stuff, I'm all for that. Don't show child abuse. And things like that, because there were bad videos on YouTube and they started clamping down. Someone got in touch about the Fanny Flambeau video and said, "Hello, I've got bad news for you. I'm really sorry. I've had to report your Fanny Flambeau video because the new regulations mean that I have no choice. It's my duty and I have to. I'm very sorry. I didn't want to do it, but I had to." And it was like, delete. Wanker. I think YouTube did something a while back that they let people become the YouTube guardians. After that backfired, the only people that became guardians and had power to delete videos and things like that were the sort of people you don't want to be guardians, but I suppose like traffic wardens, really. I have no choice, Clive, pseudo memes, indeed. We used to be able to post almost anything and be monetized. Indeed, James Randolph. And it's silly things like, if there are things that I'll put a video up and I think, I don't necessarily want kids to see this in case they try and copy it because it is quite electrically dangerous. But as soon as you mark it as not safe for below a certain age restricted, despite the fact that audiences like mostly older, like 90%, 95%, almost 100%, to be honest, of the audience is above that age, it demonetizes the whole video automatically as soon as you mark it as age restricted. I don't know why they do that. Very strange. I'm late, says Bob. Got to drink fast to catch up. Drink, 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 drink. Chris G, what's your opinion about air fryers? Do they save electricity or just a healthy option? Both. I think the air fryer is great. I've not used my oven since getting the air fryer because it's like a little mini oven. It's convection. It's the fan oven. It's got the heat element. It looks the same as the oven with the fan and the heat element, but it does it in a much smaller space, so it heats up instantly. There's no preheat, so it does save energy. You're not just heating a big box. And it cooks the food super fast, to the point that initially I burnt the food in it because it cooks it so quickly. I also discovered that if you turn it down to about 100 degrees Celsius, you can actually hard boil eggs dry in it. I didn't know you could do that. Bachelor kitchen, air fryer and a microwave and a kettle. There's probably a type of Kern warning that is actually more a caring, don't want to see you get into trouble response, probably in the wording, treasure bloke. Ah. I've never, you should try it, fried air is delicious, Julian, particularly if you put chips in it. Thank you, Jeffrey Waldo. A surefire way to stop a Kern is the head of Medusa. Yes, that's quite difficult to get. Thank you, Dion Podgita. Do we need a real man's woofle? That will happen. We need a real man's woofle. A real man's woofle, the big one, is too big for in here. It's too big. Literally to the point that it smells like singed dust for quite a time afterwards. And has you wandering around looking for combustible, smouldering-y type things. So not a good idea. The chipmunk, as Chipmunk points out, yeah, fried air is very low calorie, just not really gratifying. James Speakman, we do not talk about the gobbling teasmaid. I did see one in a hotel once and I was a bit disappointed. I thought it was more sophisticated, but it's very primitive. When Edinburgh meet, Chris Roberts, the next Edinburgh meet, because there was one in August. The next one will be probably next August if I get the job and I'm in Edinburgh. Because you never know. I can't predict what the future holds. This is a peril of being freelance. Jonathan Hughes, I can live in a coffee maker, toaster oven, and hot plate. That's all you kind of need. Seamus, cheers to you. Asda now sell Christmas dinner pot noodle. Really? Oh, I might take a look for that, Gilbert T. Codwacker. But I will be back in Glasgow next month. By next month, I mean November, which is the next month, strangely enough. Would you recommend it is cheaper than a conventional oven? It's a lot cheaper, the Half Little Fox AK Benji. It'll save you time, it'll save you money for both buying it and running it. So, and it does very, very crisp chips and frozen roast potatoes and stuff like that. And you can put a small pizza in it, and it cooks it in 5 minutes. The bar of soap in the microwave is cool, but kind of unproductive, John Payton. You can also put marshmallows in. But the best thing to put in is a bit of blue tack or something and stick a toothpick into it and light the top of the toothpick and then close the microwave while the toothpick is burning and run the microwave for plasma balls with loud parping humming noises. Do you have Deliveroo or similar in Isle of Man? And on. Certain local places will deliver food directly, but it's not a big thing. What makes a air fryer? Basically, what you can get. I get the feeling that they're very similar, and what's inside Oakland Hall is basically there's two layers. There's the inner metal drawer that pulls out, and then so the thing stays cool on the outside, you've got a motor at the top with two fans, one fan inside, stirring the air around the heating element around it and circulating the air so forcefully that if you put in pizza, it will sometimes blow the topping off it. But there's another fan the other side that blows air down the outside the unit inside a sort of separate layer, so the unit stays cool to the touch. But there's one thing to be careful about with them. They blow hot air out the back, the air that's actually been basically circulated over the inner surface to actually keep the case cool. And if you put them too close to tiles, as I did, it causes the tiles to craze, and it can actually cause glass backs in kitchens to shatter with the heat. It can cause them to crack because it is basically a hot air gun. Star Delta Glasgow meet could happen. Could happen. Not on a Saturday this time because that was just a disaster. That was too busy. It was super busy when I did it last Saturday in a very popular bar in Glasgow, the Counting House in George Square. There was no space. Thank you again, Dion. Any idea what's happening with photonic induction? I do not know what is happening with photonic induction. Andy is his own man. He just tends to he does what photonic induction does. The Christmas dinner pot noodle is shite. Trust me, do not go near it. Well, they can't really emulate everything in it, can they, James Peter? It'd be quite good if they put chunks of turkey and little potato balls in it. That'd be quite good. Or Aberdeen meat, I would sort you out with digs. Oh, keep that in mind, thank you, Star Delta. I've seen generic ones that actually look like the ovens, the glass door, the little, those are the little toaster ovens, LOL, that are very popular for converting to soda reflow stations. Is your air fryer plastic materials or metal? It's plastic on the outside, but metal on the inside. Goofy brained. I thought air fryers was just a new name for the old halogen cookers, but apparently not. It's very similar, Multivogon. The halogen cookers had the little halogen lamp in them. The air fryers are just basically like an oven, but it's got a fan in the middle of the heating element, so it just circulates the hot air around, but it's not as breakable as the halogen ones. What is the wattage in air fryer? 2 kilowatts, the ones here. Clive, how are your cats doing? They're fine, Max Urban. They're just turning up when it pleases them and eating snacks, hanging about a bit, then heading off again. I wonder if you could use an air fryer to cure powder coat. Something that I considered. It's very turbulent inside, James Robinson, but something I considered you'd have to run it when you got it to burn out any oil, residual oil from manufacturing, and then keep it oil free at that. It would have to be dedicated to that one task. It might work. What I considered with it at the low setting is you could use it to dry uh, silica gel. You could put the silica gel granules into an air fryer tray, put it in, and let it run for a certain length of time, and it would purge all the moisture out of the silica gel and dry it. But absolutely no oil at all. You couldn't use it for food or anything. It would have to be dedicated to that particular task. My air fryer is a rotating spit and a basket to do chips from raw potatoes. Okay, start it. Another thing you get is the Actifried by Tefal, which is like an air fryer, but it's got a little stirrer in it and an angled tray that it actually stirs the food continually so it cooks on all sides. How many cats have you got? Is the missing wanderer back at home, White Sapphire? China never appeared again. Hutchie appears daily. The mystery Manx cat has appeared again, the little biscuit thief that comes in and steals whole packets of biscuits. And there's a little black cat turns up from time to time. And today there's a little tabby one just hanging about watching me and pretending not to be interested but actually just watching me. So plenty of cats. Is that a mock aquarium or a real one? Green on. The green thing in the back is a mock fireplace, but the LEDs have been changed and the diffuser, so it is no longer orange, but is green instead. I suppose it could be. It does look like bubbles going through an aquarium, doesn't it? It is a flame effect. It seems if anything goes bad in a plastic air fryer, the whole thing will melt. Foxfire. There have been fires associated with air fryers. Anyone else, the Foodie Ninja? I've heard of this. Don't know what it's like. Is it complicated? Cats are just staying close when we die, Norm Swan. Maybe they are. Maybe they're going to eat me. I like the green flame. Reminds me of Big Trouble in Little China. It is a mystical colour, the green flame. I mean, it's a nice effect. Visually, it looks very good. That's the one bit I'm keeping from that horrible little plug-in heater is the little rotating Mylar thing. They could be employed by Capita turtle movers. They might be Capita spy cats up at the window. Meow, meow. Oh, he's watching BBC. I'll just phone that in. Is this the room that you do normal videos in? Travis, that is that room through there. The fireplace is at the right-hand side of the bench that I actually work on. Our pad tests, just continuity tests, more or less been, they're continuity tests for earth integrity, but they're also high voltage insulation tests for insulation integrity. Looks bloody weird, but that's no bad thing. It looks better. In hindsight, I wanted to, because the green light didn't like the orange embers at the base so well, I put a strip of white LED behind it, which you can see is a strip of white LED. In hindsight, I might just get rid of that. I might just peel that off and disconnect it because, to be honest, I like the flames going behind the, just basically going behind the black outline. For breakdown, what, John the Hughes? Are you talking the little thing? Clive, why don't you do tour of your house? Because it's a dump, Zach Lal. That's why. Do you have user Mega? Yes, I do. Subob Chickvid, I have the full set of electrical test gear, as needed by electricians, even though officially I'm not allowed to do electrical stuff. Clive, hold up a mirror. Do you mean just to see what I'm recording with at the moment? I could do that if you want, but you're not going to see what's through there because it's embarrassing. It is literally a pathway through mounds of interesting electrical stuff. It's so hard tidying up through there because as soon as I start tidying up, I go, oh, and it's like finding stuff again. It's a terrible idea. I'll get a mirror. No, you can't see the toilet. The toilet's fine, actually. you'll see that this is quite a small area. This is what I'm looking at right now. Lighting, foam pads, microphone, foam around here for acoustic reasons, maybe too much foam, grubby mirror, recording device, and Chromebook. That's what you're seeing. It's very snug, it's very comfortable here. When I put this foam in, it felt unpleasant for a while. It felt weird. Woofles. Woofles. A slow woofle. Let's see if we can make a nice solid woofle. Oh. Woofle. I did recently flame treat the ceiling. Fast woofle. Is it going to be moisture? This one's letting quite a lot of foam come out the sides. I shall light it down here. Woofle. Oh, and bubbles. Is there any significant heat up there? Not really, no. Is that 3D printed? It is indeed, Michael. If you go on Thingiverse and type in Woofler, you'll find someone's put the files up there. I should be putting the file up there as well, but I've released that thing yet. Add blue food colouring from Marge Simpson effect. That could work for the foam. You'd probably have to add quite a lot. When you held up the mirror, I couldn't see myself. That's because you're a ghost, Julian. Fast chat is therapeutic. Well, there's certainly a lot of chat goes on. But did you see the chat on the other stream on Friday, yesterday's stream? It was whizzing up. Very hard to keep a hold of. Use methylene blue, shit gets everywhere, no. Phonautical, and definitely not rhodamine B, which is the worst dye I have ever made the mistake of touching. Goodness knows where that is. I don't know where it is. I should know where it is. There's a pack of it somewhere. It's a disaster. It basically, the invisible dust turns into bright fluorescent pink in huge quantities. And it stains plastic. Did we have any super chats now? There have been super chats. Isn't your room full of flammable foam? Bob, if you're talking about the acoustic foam, hold on, let's try it. Igniting the acoustic foam electrically. There's smoke. There's smoke. No, it's not burnt. Hold on, I'll go and get a flame. It's always good to mention this. If you're going to put acoustic foam in your studio, you can get it from a local supplier and make sure that it says flame rated, flame retarded. That's that word that upsets the kerns. And when you get it, before putting it on, try and light it. There's plastic dripping off this. It is not supporting flame. This is flame protected. This foam round here will not go on fire. That's especially important, as demonstrated in some horrible nightclub fires. There's that nightclub reference to non-technical people again. Cheapskates. Vertical surfaces, the flames will run up them. So it's really important to get fire-safe foam. So it is woofle safe indeed. That piece of foam's been laying on the floor for it's been laying on a little shelf down here since this stuff was originally put in. That's good. It's retarded. It is DCL. It is retarded. Never glue it to the walls. Phonautical, it is glued to the walls. Polystyrene ceiling tiles, Bob. There was a huge. If you look up the Summerland disaster, that was an entertainment complex on the Isle of Man that went on fire, and it had plastic autoglazed glazing on the outside. Some kids set fire accidentally to while they were smoking inside a little crazy golf sort of cabin where they've hired out the crazy golf stuff. And it went on fire, the flames went up, they caught onto the glazing and the sort of tar and asbestos material with the tar making the asbestos flammable. And the fire went inside, and because so many people had been involved in bad decisions, it's a common thing in the Isle of Man, and conflicting decisions. The original architects that designed the place, the interior was changed completely and didn't fit up the original exit, so it was a bit of a maze. And they had polystyrene ceiling tiles as well to help the flames spread through with toxic smoke, and a lot of people died, especially because they barricaded the exit doors because people were letting their friends in, so they chained them up, and people were found in big heaps behind the locked exit doors. Horrible. This is where you learn lessons, or don't learn lessons. It could drip mold and plastic on, but that means it has to be in fire for nautical. I don't use acoustic foam. We know. Wumphy, good evening. Both halves didn't talk to burn lots of folk to death. Indeed, DCL, they've done it again. They've spent an absolute fortune on the Isle of Man and consultants, which just seems to be a term for money laundering on the Isle of Man, to design Douglas Promenade, and it's absolutely useless. It's unbelievable. It's like bizarre, bad design. Roundabouts that aren't roundabouts, but are shaped like roundabouts and painted oval or slabs laid in oval, and they're just impractical. It's just nonsensical. I've seen the Fascinating Horror YouTube channel, Smidge 204, lots of terrible stories. And another one is when Great White were at the Station nightclub in America. That's another one that if you're ever in a building and it goes on fire, and that was caused by insulation in the walls, the acoustic material and fireworks. If you're ever in a club and you see it going on fire, remember, in any building, remember that there are lots of fire exits. You don't have to go out the way you came in. If the alarm goes off or you see a fire, just go out the nearest exit. That's just the best thing to do in most instances. Star Delta is a horrific video. And it's like the people that got out first went, oh, thank goodness I'm safe, and didn't make way for other people behind them. Horrible. Isn't June commissioner, can I be an assaultant? June is just a commissioner, yeah. He doesn't make decisions like that through in Douglas. Sounds like North Ayrshire Council, sounds like most councils, very inefficient, Ravenlooney. As soon as people start changing their minds and modifying things or complaining, the price just goes through the roof in jobs. This is where you get lessons. It's in you to learn, indeed, Nisai, but learning from other people's terrible things. Bean says, I'm glad asbestos is no longer used in the UK, at least anyway. It was the blue and brown asbestos that were bad. White wasn't so bad, but yeah, not great. There's just lots of tats up all the walls of my studio. Julian, if it's anything like my place, it's basically floor to ceiling shelving. It's the only way you can store your stuff. And you should have stuff. What's going to happen when you die and someone's going to have to clean that bungalow out? Ralph has already helpfully told me, Arthur Trushedge Jackson, he says he's just going to get a company to come in and take it all to the skip. Excellent. What will I think about that? Not much, because I'll be dead, so I won't give a shit. So it doesn't really matter. Dibs on home contents. Fanatico, I think a lot of people want first dibs and just reeking through everything. Ravenley says we'll do it for free. That's the plan for the Glasgow flat when it eventually comes time to say, I have to decide, am I going to live in Glasgow or here? That's the tricky thing. Glasgow. Auction, please. I'd just say come in and help yourself, Bean. Um, the Glasgow has got a lot going for it. It's got a lot of shops and places to walk at. I've just always hurt my ankles in Glasgow just by walking far too much compared to Isle of Man. The Isle of Man is supposedly idyllic. I'm near the sea. I don't ever look at the sea. There's lots of trees. Lovely. And not much else. Very idyllic if you're maybe just not in the future. I'm coming for the neon. Well, there's plenty of neon, DC Allen. Glasgow does sound a lot better, GavKit. It's not good, it's not great, but Glasgow has so many advantages. Oh, but they're in a rush in my van, Star Delta. Make sure it's empty so you can fill it to the brim. Are you intend to be buried or make a big woofle? There'll be a woofle. Chris Hartley. The instructions have already been given to Ralph. When I die, straight to the crematorium, no service, no waste of time, just book the first appointment. And he said, what do you want to do with the ashes? Where do you want to sprinkle? And I said, put in the bin. I'll be dead. I don't give a fuck. It's just not going to be all amby-pamby about that. Go live in Glasgow and retire there. It could do, Weasel Box. Or I could just bounce backwards and forwards of the best of both worlds, but it's not ideal. Thank you, Toby. What's the largest technical thing you own? What is the largest technical thing? It's got to be the pinball machines, I suppose. Pinball machines. Now, what is the... Or is it the jukebox? Tricky. The jukebox is quite a high volume, but the pinball machines, I think, pip that for volume. It will be the pinball machines. Of those machines, it'll be the Haunted House, the Gottlieb pinball machine. It's the biggest. From a practical, right, I would say the Isle of Man might have the advantage in the medical facilities. It is a very good hospital. Surely it's you, Clive. I am quite big, Julian. I'm not as big as a pinball machine. It's probably a transit. It could, but that technically speaking, Ralph and me kind of jointly own that because, well, we're both single brothers. It just makes sense that we basically operate a mini carpool, that we've got a transit van and we've got a car and we can use them interchangeably. It just made sense. Will you donate your beard to medical science? Maybe I will, Frost Giant. Maybe I could donate my brain to medical science. They could open up and go, wow, that's weird. Do we dip it in batter first? Yes, the transit is back up and running, Zap Sparky, after that tree incident. That was quite some time ago. Will there be a post-mortem? Are you on the organ donor register? I think the way it's gone, Arthur Touchedge Jackson, is they're changing to an opt-out system here. So by default, I think your organs will be donated unless you say, no, I don't want them donated. I think that's what they're doing, but I'm not really sure. It is a microfleet. Get the pinball machines working. What makes you think they don't? I've dated my body forensic science going to be eaten by foxes and rats. Okay. I know loads of people want my Variac. A good big Variac is quite handy. I could see them finding an LED inside you or a huge brain malfunction. Human Seagull, are you just going to the pub now? You've just reminded me to fill up my glass again. For reference, the stream will be ending in approximately 20 minutes. Just so you know this. I may have to stock up and run after all. The Rum Fund. I suspect bungalow is more sustainable in the ways that it would be, you could easily adapt it. Not so sure, John McFern. The bungalow is small. The bungalow is smaller than the flat. It's also, I mean, it's easier theoretically to maintain, except it's got a big garden. The garden needs mowed flat and replace and a Julian Eyelet shed put in it. Arthur Two Shed Jackson has opted out. You can all fuck off to my organs. Okay. The bungalow is more easily maintained. It's not a scenic view out the windows as the Glasgow place. It's, not sure. I've got mixed thoughts. It's also a bit claustrophobic. That's the roof. That's the roof. And in the kitchen, when I come into the kitchen, if I just walk straight into the kitchen, I hit the oven on one side and a cabinet on the other side. I have to actually go into the kitchen like this to get through them. It was designed for small people. Thank you, John Douglas. What sort of building would you ideally live in? A warehouse, a big, huge barn or warehouse with a living quarter in it is my ideal place. Wurlitzer Rocola. Why not? You won't be using them anymore. What? Scope for solar bungalow? I think so. I think it kind of points in the right direction, although the Isle of Man does not have a lot of huge quantity of sunshine. I get the feeling there's a lot of deceptive marketing going on over here and grant scrounging. There was that bloke on YouTube who mowed his lawn with a rotating laser. I don't think that was practical, Green On. GS1512, we had my wife's mother's remembrance service yesterday. She donated her body to the DMet and University Medical School. It was good empathetic service. Yeah, kind of not counter the idea of donating it to be chopped up by students, given my experience of students, but they have to learn somewhere. Danny Q is just in time to catch the end, indeed. You've got about most of 20 minutes, really. I have a question to ask Big Clive. You just ask it, New Rock Boy. You've blown it now. You've asked the question. I'm waiting until I'm dead before I donate my organs. This is good, Dave said, and you shouldn't donate them before you're dead. Any progress in the shed? Not really. I've not really looked at it too much, Topaz. Pavitt says, 20 minutes to get all my interesting comments. That's cruelty. Well, start commenting. I think a lot of us would live on a farm, in a big, huge shed with a living quarter. I think that would be the ideal home for many of us. Ah. 1 million subs party stream on September 23rd. Linear forecasted projected date. I don't think it will happen next year. I don't know. It's very hard to say. The channel grows slowly and it goes in surges because at the moment it's doing quite well, but other times earlier in the year it was doing terribly. It's very unpredictable, and the revenue generated by advertising varies by much more than 50%. It can be really low at times of the year. Good night, Clive. I'm off to mow my lawn. William DeFries. Is that some sort of sexual term? Not really sure. Do you have a door into garage? There is a front door. There's a back door as well, but the front door is kind of screwed shut, the one that folds up and over, because it's all rusted and wonky. It's both cool and unfortunate. So many people watch the streams. Yeah, well, but it's not that busy a stream. It's only about 1,000, which is still quite a lot, I suppose. I mean, it's a very busy pub gathering. Could you make a living off YouTube, Clive? Yes, but would I trust it for the future? No, I'd always want to keep real work because I just don't trust. It's not even like a human can end your career. A algorithm that is changed sometimes randomly from time to time can literally just delete your whole livelihood in one go. So no, £2 for 2 more hours. No, no, no. It won't be going on too long, Mr. Eggcake. Yesterday was hard to read the comments going too fast. It was hard for me to read the comments. Did you hear how fast I was speaking, trying to keep up? YouTube isn't a career, it's a poor life choice. It was, fanatical. I'm considering debating drilling a hole in my motorcycle frame for license plate flippers. That thing that rotates it so the police can't catch you, Art Campbell. Reasonable enough. Harris Chalk says 1,000 people-ish fill the Perth Concert Hall in Scotland. So that's a concert hall's worth. Fanta, it doesn't matter clicking the like button. It's not like we want too many people to find the stream, is it? It's better quieter. It can get too big. Can you see how long people have been subscribed? Been not sure. Don't know. But if you look at the main channel, it tells you prominent. You can actually list subscribers as in like, well, it starts off with the highest number of subscribers they've got. Some really huge channels subscribe to me. What was that chemical you recommended for those stress-induced blisters on fingers? You mentioned that a few weeks ago and I can't remember. Marcus Strangle. I didn't recommend a chemical as such for them, but if you get stuff like that, if your feet are infected, potassium permanganate. But for the hands, what I recommend, the little tiny water blisters you get during periods of stress, the disidrotic eczema, if you can, try to avoid scratch them. It's like the fix to make them less itchy is to put your hands under very hot water under the tap and just basically stun them a little bit. Also highway tolls. Art Campbell. How much dosh do you make in these Saturday streams, Clive? It varies. To be honest, Eric, the king. This isn't a super duper viable thing. This isn't what you call a lucrative thing. It's just done socially. There's no... Even though these are long streams, advertising is not enabled all the way through them because when they're replayed, because YouTube initially put adverts repeatedly in the first half hour. It was just too many. So I just disabled them. There's an advert at the beginning and the end. So it's quite low views these get in relative terms. It's a social thing. It's nice when people contribute. That's what helps buy the Jägermeister and the rum. But that is what I would say is it, really. It's not something I'd make a living from, just doing the sort of live streams. Not unless I did them every day, it might work, but I don't think it would. As I was late, I missed all the woofles. We can end on a woofles, Wumphy. Pomegranate also makes very cheap wood stain. Potassium permanganate makes stain as well. Oh, I worked at a steel mill which has been ripped down and turned into a car park for all the new cars. Ugh. That's the content and re-revenue. Does it affect your revenue if you watch the adverts all the way through or not? Just watch as much as you want or just bypass them completely. It doesn't really matter. Don't feel you're forced to watch adverts. Happy little fox. I want to live somewhere where I can chuck dynamite around without bothering anyone. I do get a bit envious when I see those American channels blowing stuff up. Does Isle of Man have its own TV channels? No. The BBC pretends it has an Isle of Man presence and things like that, but it's all fake. It's rubbish. Once you have a stash cash, you can YouTube full time. I wouldn't want to, Bob. I want the security and the realness of a real job. Does Right Guard Woofle? It does. They're building an electric car factory here, Red Farm says. Interesting. Plenty of real Guy Fawkes. They have, cameratim.com, not going to blow up the actual government because that's a bit controversial, but they usually do a pretty good Guy Fawkes here. They have the 5th of November. Just up the road, there's a lake in a pleasure park, an old Victorian pleasure park. Very scenic, nice to walk around. But in the middle of the lake, there's an island, and that's where they set the fireworks off from. What's a real job? A real job is one where you do physical things and you actually get paid for doing physical things in a consistent manner. Did you see Carrie Swiffle to you? I did not. James Hauser. Mixed potassium, permanganate, and glycerine for a good woofle. That's a self-igniting woofle, wetware error. Isle Man population figure, not sure. You'll find that in Google. Hagen P, I think I do monetize the live streams, but there's just an advert at the beginning and end. It's nothing really major. It's just normal. Next Saturday is November the 5th. That's good. Oh, shit. Well, I can see the fireworks and then come and do the live stream. I think that's how the timing works. I think that's happened in the past. It usually on a Saturday. It's expensive, like divorce, because it is worth it, Norm Swan says. So real job as a hooker. It would work, I suppose, goofy brained. I'll keep OnlyFans in mind for the future. What would I have to do, though? I just lost my real job last night, says Fan Plant. Don't worry if you're technical, another one will come along. Don't worry about it too much. Pleasure park cruising area. It's not really suitable for cruising, I don't think, that one. It is actually an old pleasure park that DCL, and that people in their big Victorian robes and the top hats and ladies their big bustly dresses and things like that, they'd have wandered round with their little umbrellas with their maid in tow. It's that sort of place. The stream is another 8 minutes to go. Just so you know, did I just see a spider or something? Spiders have a nasty tendency to drop down from above here into my face. Stream the fireworks. Not sure that would be too practical. I'd rather watch them anyway. Do you use canned air to clean things? Well, you know, I don't normally, Topaz, but I did recently because you can't really see it. But over here, I used to have cables hanging through the door frame to the router. The router now has a 3D printed holder, wall bracket, and drilled a hole through the wall to get the cables out of the way into the back of a cupboard area with a sort of compartment down the back. Fed the cables through and then 3D printed a cover for that. But before I poked the cables through, I used, because I couldn't vacuum it out easily, I just used an air duster to blow all the dust through from one side to the other. So it worked. Have you tried the cold brew Jaeger? I've tried the coffee Jaeger. Where do the Manx go dogging, Furbear? Apparently down at the local docks is where they go dogging, at the local piers, according to somebody I know who watches them from her window at night. I've used canned air to clean out gas range burners, John McFern says. Reason enough. You ran cables, but you're not Part L. Fanautical, they were low voltage and therefore not affected by ping. It's Part P, and you have to, you know, pay money to a marketing company, etc. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, what's less compliant is the fact the little bush that comes out from the wall is 3D printed with a little cap. It's quite smart, I have to say. I could show you it, but I can't really show you it. Hold on. Hold on. I took a picture of it once I'd done it. Not sure which camera I took a picture of it with. Oh, it's not bad. It's not bad. It looks like that. It's very neat. Much neater than it was before. That is the custom two-piece bush that comes out, and it's very smart, actually. It looks very neat. Wait, a marketing company determines your experience. Awesome. Yeah, Fan Plant. They're the ones who de-skilled it to 1 week so they could make lots of cash. And if you're really shit, and one of their fake inspectors visits you, the ones that are just part of the marketing thing, and says, well, I'm afraid you're really shit and you don't know what you're doing, you're approved by them. They don't ditch you because they're making money out of you. They say, well, you're going to have to improve. That's how it works. Welcome to the future. It is idiocracy. Mouse says, if you don't know what dogging is, this is a song about it. I'm not sure I want to see a song about dogging. The BBC inspectors, well, same type of thing, it's private companies. That was a mini rant of Kirk. It wasn't a shouty rant. Moorach Park Lake, that is it, Craig. Even video. I remember playing it as a child on holiday in the 70s, as do I. And it was great. So when we moved here, Ralph and I were discussing, because Ralph had sold his place in Glasgow and he wanted to buy a place here so that each of us could alternate and take a turn getting a break away from my mum completely while the other looked after my mum. He bought the bungalow here, and one of the things we thought, it is near Moorach Park, which is quite nice. Popping sound is back, is it? That's probably your aggression, or Kirka. 4 minutes to go to the end of the stream. I went dogging with Anne Widdicombe once. Great sport, says Brian Cox. I see. Popping is back. Maybe it's a symbol. Maybe it's an indication. LED displays distracting. Dylan, maybe I should just leave it in clock. It's popping for everyone extra. This stream is absolutely popping. Why does NIC, EIC always sound like the National Institute of Clowns? Yes, indeed. It does sound integrated circuit. Just a marketing company. Kevin and June go dogging together. Probably Martin Balmforth. It wouldn't surprise me. The blue colour is nasty. Okay, someone doesn't like the sign. That's fine. I can change it to green. Leave it in what? What? You need to... What? I need to with the dogging song. All right, we want longer tonight. No. Stream until the rum runs out, Dad. I'm not sure how much rum there is. Caught 3 dogs you're interested? No, Brian Cox, not interested in caught dogs. You should extend 30 minutes. No, it's not practical at the moment. I've got some stuff to build tonight. Put some nice animation on the clock as well. It gets intrusive if you put animations on it. What are we building? We're solar powered, things that use recovered vape batteries, but very minimalist circuitry and very minimalist charging circuitry. It's gutter solar powered emergency lighting. Might even use an NPN transistor, not sure. Don't know. It'd be easier because with the only surface mount transistors, the ones I want, the MOSFETs that I want, I've got 2 M7000s, which are traditional old low current MOSFETs, which are so out of date now. And they're kind of like, they come with anti-static damage warnings. When you think these days it's the A2SHB surface mount MOSFET, the Chinese favorite. It would be perfect for that. It's just like indestructible. It's so sensitive that's the only real choice, but it's just surface mount, which makes it just a bit trickier. Make it light sensitive, Clive. It is green ohm. It's going to turn itself off during the day and only light at dusk. Can't get the clock to display in my panels, Barry Shepherd. You should be able to get the clock to display in your panels if you've got the standard little controller. Is the time set in the clock? Because you go to the device settings for that and do the time update. And also, when you add a program in, just select clock, is it? Or feature? I can't remember how to do it, actually. But yeah, it's fairly straightforward to add the clock. I like surface mount DOM, right? But it's when you're just roughing stuff together without a circuit board, it's not so easy. Lock the exposure thing is part of the popping. I'm not so sure. I can't lock anything. I can't lock the exposure or audio. It's all done by the YouTube app, which is what I'm using. Anyway, whiffle time. Found some antique emergency lights the other day. Can't work out how to connect. The wiring thing at the top doesn't seem to match any standard, Chris Hartley. Are they fluorescent ones? The batteries will be shot in them. Woofle. Someone complained about my woofle short. They said, that's just a flame, it's not a fireball. Okay, it feels like a fireball when you're next to it. I'll let you guys judge. Is this a fireball? Hold on. Wiffle. I think that's a fireball. Yeah, that's a fireball. It's a mini fireball. There is a limit to what I can actually do in here, fireball-wise. A thermal image, it would just swamp it out, John McFern. It would actually be more boring than actually looking directly at the wiffle. The stream is now about to come to an end, but that's okay. I'll most likely be back on Thursday. I'm not sure, I can't remember if this is an official one or not on Thursday for Patreon. But either way, I'll be back here on Saturday, Guy Fawkes, 5th of November, our explosive pyro day. So you might hear fireworks in the background. But until then, I shall see you then and have a good week. Awkward.